Good morning, everybody. This is John Seville. This is your executive summary for stock setups for Tuesday. Now, we have an interesting day ahead. If we have a look at the futures, you will see that we are moving down. We are currently 1 hour before market open. We are 9.5 points below the close on the S&P futures of yesterday. So the markets are looking for a negative day, but we still have seen a lot of positive action. We've seen positive days turn negative and negative days turn positive. A lot of big performance, of course, across the board in stocks that we have been following. Obviously, Encana, one of the stocks we pointed out in Trading Room, has had a huge surge. That was an entry we talked about at 373. That is all the way up to $6 now. Let's have a look at a couple of the other ones. We had OMED, another big performer. We're looking at an entry point there of 1023. That one surged yesterday up 15.58%. KFRC, another one of the big performers. That one surging right upward, straight up from the $16 area, currently up to $18. So obviously we're seeing big performance, and one of the really kind of, I guess the smaller stocks that we were following, which we obviously loaded up on calls on, BCRX also surging, which was another really big performer for people, up past that crossover of the 9-day moving average, at $2.20, closing up at $3 almost yesterday. So a lot of good performers along the long side of things. So we obviously don't want to poke the bear too much. And in the face of a downward market, we want to be selective about what longs we do look at. But I have selected a couple of long positions that you may be interested in. Now, oil is up, and the light crude seems to be moving further up in the before market hours. So I was looking at CVR refining, and these guys have obviously got that kind of that breakthrough out of the 9 and 20-day moving average. You can see it was very much held down by the moving averages this entire time. So this could be a potential play, looking for a break above $12 or above, at an exit around $14.43 with a stop criteria at $10.93. Now that gives us a reasonably good risk-reward ratio, certainly for about roughly $1 for $2.43 reward. So that would meet the risk-reward requirements, and that would take us up to where that 50-day moving average should enclose down from above. So this is kind of that was one of the possible kind of refiner type plays. Now ALDW is also another one that just kept coming across my radar. It's been on my watch list for a while. This is probably gonna be one that takes a bit more time to mature, but one definitely worth keeping on your radar. Now we can see that there's some high frequency selling that's come on. Buying, back at this level, which is also going to be high frequency selling as it comes back up. So there's an opportunity from around this kind of $11 area up to the $14 area. Now it's obviously still struggling. You can see that the top of the candle's been selling off, and we should always, of course, have the money flow up on the chart just to give some perspective of where the smart money is going. You can see it hasn't quite turned around yet, so this wouldn't be one that I'd be surging to jump into unless we see some really bullish action today. But I'd be looking for the 9 and 20-day moving average to cross, which would bring us a possible entry point around 1173. If I was to estimate a target, I would look at 1493 with a stop criteria of 967. But again, I think this is going to be one of the ones that just needs to mature a little bit more, as there are other trades that are much closer to kind of possible entry point. CVT, of course, is one of the ones that we've been looking at in the Fallen Angels course for a while. And with this one, given that there is negative movement in the market, generally what we want to do with a momentum trade, and all of these are momentum trades, we can try and protect ourselves against a downward market by ensuring that the stock's momentum continues. Now, if the stock's momentum is broken, then it shouldn't, technically speaking, make a new high. Now, it's always possible, but obviously the definition of an uptrend is higher highs and higher lows. Now, if the stock's uptrend is broken, it shouldn't make a higher high. So one way we can get insurance on this type of a momentum trade is to say, well, if this truly is strong momentum, then let's enter it if it's able to go against the grain of the downward momentum of today's market and actually make a higher high. So I would look at a breakout entry point above $21.43 with a stop criteria at $20.23 and a target at $23.93. Okay, so that was the second of the stronger ones. Of course, we talked about three, but that was the second of the ones I feel is more closer to a viable entry point today. MKTO, also one of the ones that we'd highlighted back in our Fallen Angels course and trading room, actually, back here on Thursday, I believe. I could be wrong, but that was basically when the entry point came about. Again, you can see the same momentum play, the same Fallen Angel type of momentum. And this is a little bit longer in the tooth, so but the money flow is much stronger. So this is a possible continuation. But I would be on this one looking for the momentum to hold around 1820. So I'd be looking at an entry point around there. So a slight pullback to that moving day average of 1806, and looking at a target of 2333. So I am looking for a breakout above the 50-day moving average. And this would be assuming that the momentum of the market can continue. And so 23.33 being the target, a stop criteria of 16.91. Now, the next on my list I thought worth mentioning is one that we already hold calls in, and the one we'd highlighted to everyone about a week ago. And this is SRPT. Now, they're expecting FDA approval to be coming soon. The market's kind of factoring that into the price of the stock. And we're seeing that good momentum move in the Twigs money flow beneath the stock as well. Now, it's not divergent, but it is positive. And you can see that the stock's building a solid base. The real key for this stock to be able to have some big movement is to break out above that trend line that we can see is above the high of the stock here at 1574. Again, looking back, you can see 1578. So basically, a break of 1578 should create at least a technical surge, bringing up to the 50-day moving average and possibly higher. Obviously, FDA approval could bring it all the way up to that $25 area. So just one worth mentioning. If you don't, and you can obviously review our stock report to have a look at the types of calls and entry points we've already reviewed on that. But one also worth mentioning. And last but not least, ZOMA, XOMA. Now this one is truly a day trader's stock or a longer term speculator. You can see that this has been surging 2.18 million shares on Friday, bringing it up 2.5%. Then 4.45 million shares on Monday, bringing up 9.76%. So this is, again, a real speculator stock. It closed at 90 cents. So I would be looking for a pullback to around 86 cents or above, and looking at 72 cents as a stop loss. So that would be beneath the low of this bench of support. So given it's such a low price stock, and given so far it's fallen, this could be a real speculation, and that's really kind of what we're punting at the moment, is looking at those speculative trades. There's going to be some moving average resistance above, and that's going to be its threat. But if this is able to continue the power it's got in its current move, then I'd be looking at a $1.13 target. But I wouldn't be selling at that. I would be actually moving the stop loss up to my entry point as it reaches that, and see if it has the chance to really power through. So those are your long selections for today's market. Again, choose wisely, and always consider your own risk objectives and position sizing. These are all going to be interesting plays in what looks like negative sentiment for the market, but could work out given that we still have about another week and a bit left of open range. So which indicates a positive direction. So happy trading, and we'll see you all in Trading Room.